When people first see Hytale, their brain instantly tries to simplify it. Blocks? Creatures? Stylized visuals. They think, okay, this is Minecraft with RPG stuff, and that reaction is understandable, but is also misleading, because Hytale doesn't try to compete by adding more blocks, more mobs, or bigger worlds. Instead, it competes by changing how the world behaves. The real depth of Hytale is hidden in its mechanics, the systems you only notice once you start interacting with the world instead of just looking at it. So in this video, I want to slow things down and explain 11 core mechanics, clearly with simple examples and without assuming you already know how the game works. If you understand these systems, Hytale stops looking like a Minecraft clone and starts feeling like a completely different sandbox philosophy. Number 1. Blocks are not just terrain, they are systems. Let's start with the foundation of any voxel game. Blocks. In most sandbox games, a block is just terrain. It's something you place, break, replace. Once you leave the area, the block effectively stops existing in any meaningful way. Hytale treats blocks very differently. Many blocks in Hytale have states, conditions, and rules. Think of them less like Lego bricks and more like objects with behavior. For example, wooden materials can react to moisture or environment. Certain blocks can change over time instead of staying static. Some blocks can interact with nearby entities or other blocks. Imagine this scenario. You build a small wooden outpost near a swamp-like area. You leave it for a long time while exploring elsewhere. When you return, nothing is magically destroyed, but parts of your structure might feel different. They are weaker, altered, or behaving in unexpected ways. The world didn't reset while you were gone. It continued to exist. That single idea already changes how you build, where you build, and what materials you choose. Number 2. Crafting is contextual, not absolute. In many games, crafting is extremely binary. You either have the recipe or you don't. You either have the materials or you don't. Hytale softens that rigidity. Crafting results can depend on context, not just ingredients. Context can include tool quality, nearby crafting stations, environment, and world progression. Let's break this down simply. Imagine crafting the same weapon twice, same materials and same recipe, but in first case you're using basic tools and minimal setup. In a second case you're near better stations and you have higher quality tools. The output isn't just some weapon but better stats. It can behave really differently. This makes crafting feel closer to actually making something, instead of pressing a button and watching a progress bar. Number 3. Tools are about interaction, not just power. Most games teach players a very simple rule. Higher tier always better. Wood, stone, iron, diamond. Hytale breaks that mental model. Tools are designed around how they interact with the world, not just how strong they are. Some tools might work faster but less precisely, be slower but safer, interact with specific materials differently, or trigger special behaviors. So instead of axing which tool is strongest, you start axing which tool is correct here. For example, one tool might be perfect for clearing terrain quickly, another might be better for careful construction, and another might be ideal for interacting with dangerous materials. This makes preparation meaningful. You're not just upgrading, you're choosing. Number 4. Combat is built around positioning and commitment. At first glance, Hytale combat looks smooth and animated, but that smoothness isn't just visual polish, it's mechanical. Combat in Hytale is directional and timing based. Attacks have arcs, facing requirements, and commitment windows. If you swing a weapon, you commit to that action, you can instantly cancel it, and you have recovery time. This creates a very different combat mindset. You don't spam attacks, you position yourself, you read the enemy. Attacking from the side or back matters. Being careless matters. This makes even weaker enemies dangerous if you underestimate them. Number 5. Animations are gameplay rules. This is one of the most important ideas to understand. In Hytale, animations are not decoration, they define gameplay rules. Animations control when damage happens, when you're vulnerable, when you can move and when you cannot. For example, starting an attack locks your movement briefly, finishing an attack has recovery frames, dodging too late can fail. This creates clarity. When you get hit, it's usually obvious why: bad timing, pure positioning, or overcommitment. The game doesn't hide behind invisible dice rolls. Number 6. Enemy AI thinks in intentions, not scripts. Most sandbox enemies behave like machines. If they see you, they attack. If they lose you, they reset. Hytale enemies operate on intent states. They can investigate sounds, defend territory, hesitate, retreat, and even call for help. Imagine walking near a hostile camp. Instead of instant combat, enemies notice movement, reposition, observe, and prepare. You feel tension before combat even starts. Sometimes the smartest option is not to fight but to leave. Number 7. Sound is a hidden core mechanic. Hytale has no visible stealth meta, but stealth exists. Sound affects enemy awareness, investigation behavior, and escalation speed. Breaking blocks too loud? enemies may investigate. Fighting aggressively, reinforcements may arrive. Silence becomes the strategy. This creates emerging stealth gameplay without explicitly telling the player this is a stealth game. Number 8. Progression is tied to the world, not just the player. This is the mechanic that connects everything. Progression in Hytale is not just about numbers. The world itself progresses. As you advance, new behaviors appear, systems unlock, and consequences become harsher. The same action that was safe early on might trigger a dangerous response later. The game doesn't just make enemies stronger, it expects you to play smarter. Why this design matters? All these mechanics shares one philosophy. Hytale doesn't want you to rush content, it wants you to understand systems. You don't win by grinding harder, you win by observing, adapting, and learning. The world reacts to you and remembers. Number 9. World events are system-driven, not scripted. In many games, world events are basically cutscenes with gameplay attached. Something happens because the game decided it should happen right now. Hytale approaches this differently. World events are often the result of multiple systems colliding, and not a single trigger. Think of events as emerging situations, not missions. For example, hostile factions expand their territory over time, certain creatures migrate or become more aggressive, and also environmental conditions can escalate existing threats. So instead of an event starts at midnight, you ignored this region for too long and now the situation evolved. A quiet area can slowly turn dangerous. A dangerous area can spiral into chaos if left unchecked. The important part, the game isn't announcing this with big UI warnings. You discover events by seeing consequences. That makes exploration feel organic, like you're walking into a situation that already existed before you arrived. Number 10. Physics isn't global, it's selective and purposeful. Hytale doesn't simulate full real-world physics everywhere, and that's intentional. Instead, physics is applied only where it creates meaningful gameplay. Certain materials collapse if unsupported, react differently to impact, and transfer force in specific ways. Other materials stay stable to avoid chaos and frustration. This selective physics approach allows controlled destruction, predictable building behavior, and emergent solutions without total randomness. Example, you mine carelessly in a cave. Some materials remain solid, others shift, collapse, or expose new paths. You're not punished by full simulation chaos, but you're also not completely safe. The result is a world that feels alive without becoming unstable or annoying. Number 11. Mods are first-class citizens, not afterthoughts. This is one of Hytale's most underestimated mechanics. Mods are not extra content, they're part of the core design philosophy. The engine is built so that game systems are exposed, behaviors are replaceable, and assets are modular by default. This means modders don't fight the engine, they work with it. A mod can change how combat works, redefine progression, alter world rules, and create entirely new genres. And the important part, mods aren't limited to private worlds. They can be seamlessly integrated into servers. This turns Hytale into less of a single game and more of a platform for games. And that's why comparing it directly to Minecraft misses the point entirely. On the surface, Hytale looks simple, but underneath, blocks have behavior, crafting has context, tools have roles, combat demands commitment, enemies think, sound matters, and the world evolves. Hytale isn't trying to be a sandbox full of toys, it's trying to be a sandbox where the world actually responds to your actions. And that's a much harder and much more interesting thing to build.